Senator Elizabeth Warren, the banking broad, of course, she would comment on this, tweeted her criticism of both companies following customer reports. Said Bank of America and Zelle are apparently failing customers again, with money somehow disappearing from their accounts. This should be fixed immediately and customers should be compensated. I've called out serious fraud issues on Zelle, and this is their latest failure. Very, very, very interesting.
I'm glad people sue this.
What, bad check fee? Your age is showing again? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Is that not what it's called?
Pretty sure that's what it's called.
What else is it called? Bad check fee, overdraft fee, fee, whatever. Same difference. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Showing my age. I write checks. Yeah, I write checks and I cash them. Son, get out of my face. Okay. All right. Moving on here. Let's head to Twitter here. Check out BitBoy_crypto on Twitter, which, by the way, we did pick our new winners for the Gleam contest yesterday. And they did all go through. So, 5 books, all those people have been contacted, and then, of course, 3 people that won the crypto. But I did want to highlight this real quick. If you are coming to any of the stops on the book tour for catching up to crypto, make sure to RSVP. And each day that these occur, we're going to go ahead and put something out on social media for you guys to sign up for the Eventbrite specifically. But if you click here and you go down to the bottom, which, by the way, this time on Los Angeles has changed. This is now I think 2:30 to 5:30. We got to get that updated on the website. And I'm not sure. I think we have the Boston location too. So maybe I need to clear my cache. I'm not sure. But if you click on these individual cities, if you click on San Francisco, you'll go here and it'll pull up the Eventbrite and you guys can fill this out. It's actually in San Jose is actually where this is going to be. It's in San Jose. It's a little south of the city there. So there you go. Make sure you guys do that though. And I also want to point out for BitLab Academy, we have a 15% off deal Kelly wanted me to tell you about. Let me double check what that is real quick. You guys can go to, let's see here. BitLab is running a discount code. It is green15. If you go to BitLab Academy, bitlabacademy.com, and go through here. And if you sign up for it, use the code green15 and you'll get 15% off the first month of your indicators and your Academy courses. Let's see here.
I'll drop a link in the chat.
Okay. All right. Drop a link in the chat. Perfect. Okay. Let's move on here. Move to the markets. All right. We got 22,322 cryptos, 536 exchanges, 971 billion in market cap, almost 50 billion in volume. Buckslayer says there's a bigger problem than Zelle. How am I supposed to buy naughty things on the dark web when with BitLotto is down? I don't know. That's it. BizLotto. Nobody knows. $11,000 in accounts they seized. $11,000.
That's huge.
Now at the peak, it was 6 million. So you know what that means? They got all their money off before the government seized it.
Pretty funny how they arrested him in Miami. It's like a China-Russian connected exchange owner in Miami, just chilling.
Yep. Wonderful. That's the way they do it. Guys, make sure to go ahead and smash that like button.
That's right.
Yeah, we're going to talk about JP Morgan hating Bitcoin. Talk about it tonight in our video too. We're going to cover it. But so I lost my train of thought. Oh, smash the like button. Number one thing you can do as a member of the Bit Squad to support. It's the more likes you smash, the more protein I'll drink.
Keep it going. Make him keep drinking. Come on. Let's go.
Don't get any protein on my face. I'll be very careful about that. Bitcoin dominance, 41.4%, 19.3%. ETH dominance, 11 Paraguays will send you an e-transaction. Looking at Bitcoin coming in at 20,856. I got out of a long. Woo, man, I got out of a long yesterday.
Good.
I got up 30%. I got in at like 20,700. I got out at 20,950. And I just don't feel real good about the market right now. Look, long-term, I feel great. Midterm, I feel great. I just mean specifically like today, tomorrow, this weekend. When I say I don't feel great, it could go up to 22. It could go back down to 20. It could fill that gap possibly at $19,990. Mm-hmm. We should talk about CME gap sometime because I think a lot of people that watch don't even know what the CME gap is. But we can look at that. There is a gap down there. Those fill 97% of the time. It was the last stat I saw. Maybe it's higher or lower now. But 97% of the time in crypto, those fill. So do expect that to get filled down at $19,990 at some point. So I'm just saying right now, I feel like Bitcoin is pretty volatile. It's been steady the last day. I feel like we could get a big spike up or a big spike down. So when I say I don't feel good about the market, I don't feel good looking at our indicators and thinking that right now is a good time to take a position on like a leverage trade right now. So that's what I mean. All right, so we got Ethereum coming in at 1534, BNB at 290. Biggest gainers of the day, we have Kava, we have Frax shares, we have Terra Luna Classic, we have Engine Coin, we have Basic Attention Token, Trust Wallet, Hedera, about 5% gains, XRP, about 5% gains. So Ismail Osgood, any thought on Spell Token? TOKEN. There we go. I can do it.
There it is.
I was telling my kid last night, my kid had the flu, my youngest kid, Blake. He had the flu, and he won his class spelling bee, and he did not get to participate in the school spelling bee because he had the flu. It was a few weeks ago. Very sad. He would have won. He's a killer. I'd never won a spelling bee in my life.
Me either. I won a science fair once.
I won a geography bee once. I got second place about 100 times. It's very sad. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life is not winning a spelling bee. I'm a great speller. So Spell Token, TOKEN. I can do it every time. No problem.
Very
okay.
foolish.
I did want to also say this. Let's see. Let me see this. Let me pull this up. Let's see.
You just made me remember my science fair.
Oh, look, there's my wife right there. Look how cute she is. Hey, she's cute. She's cute. She has is this hers? Is this hers? Yeah, this is my wife's account. Oh, she finally got her blue check. Look at that. Wait, what just happened there? There it is.
Chaos.
You guys can see her blue check there. She actually has had some people imposing her as Damon said. Anybody say Kava? I saw that. She's been has an impersonator, has been messaging people. Obviously, she has a pin tweet here saying she'll never ask for you for cryptocurrency. My wife would never do that. So she doesn't even ask me for cryptocurrency. Okay, think about that. She has a little bitty Coinbase wallet with like $2,000 in it. At the peak, it's probably worth $6 now. Yeah. So if anybody pretends to be my wife and messages you, she obviously that's not real. So didn't want to point that out because I had a couple of people asking. You think I should follow my own wife on Twitter?
You totally should. Are you gonna do it?
I should follow my own. There you go. Hon. There you go. Something tells me her follower number will count. It will jump now. But anyways. Oh, look at little Skippy. Look at little Skip. What a little puppy he was.
A nug.
Yeah, that's back when we lived in Gainesville. That's years ago. Wow. All right. Okay. Moving on. Frank, you'll come and do charts? Come do the charts, Frank.
What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a good day. Now, I basically agree with Ben. I think it was a good idea to get out of that long. I do think kind of locally we can come up a little bit higher, but nothing really significant. Am looking for a potential little bit of a bigger pullback here. Hopefully. I do remain in my long. I do have a lot of profit taken out of it. I am waiting to come down a little bit lower to look for some places where I can add to that long a little bit if we are going to continue back up. But I just don't think that we're at the levels right now. I would like to come down a little bit deeper. As Ben was talking about, we do have that CME gap down at I think it's like $19,500 is kind of where it ends. But I could actually pull that up because I think CME gaps are something that a lot of people don't really understand what they are. And it's actually funny that Ben said we should talk about it. We talked about it on Blockchain Basement yesterday, and I actually released a pre-record completely unrelated to why we were talking about it on Blockchain Basement, just happened to be on the same day. So I did upload a video about CME gaps, what they are, and how you can use them in your trading. And, when, they are pretty reliable, to be honest. I think that the percentage is pretty crazy. Like there's a high percentage of them that usually get filled. And I think about 70%, again, like Ben said, the statistics may have changed, but I think it's like 70% of them fill within a week. So it's no guarantee that we have to come down and fill that, guaranteed right now. But it is it's very, very, very probable that we do fill it at some point, and a 70% chance of filling it within a week. So hopefully we can come down to that level. And if you guys are interested in learning about more about CME gaps, what they are, and how you can use them in your trading, you can check that video out on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. But let's go ahead and jump right into TradingView, guys. I'm going to update these levels just a bit. And don't forget, our chart section is brought to you by BitGet. If you guys want to sign up for BitGet, you guys know I was repping that BitGet hat on my live stream last night. If you guys want to sign up for BitGet, you can check the link in the description down below. And I don't know if Drew has the link, but maybe he could throw it in the chat as well. But let's go ahead and take a look here, guys. I'm just going to turn the TA off here for a second, and I want to pull up the volume. Let's pull up that VPVR. And essentially, coming up to the higher time frames, obviously we are coming up to a key level of resistance, right? This is basically the FTX level, going to be a strong level of resistance. And, if we get rejected here, we could wind up coming down a decent bit. You can see we have this high volume node coming in, about the top of that high volume node does come in around that $19,500 level, right where that CME gap is. And if we go ahead and type in or pull up the CME chart, turn it off, Heikin-Ashi candles. That is important. If you are looking at the CME chart, you won't see the gaps if you're looking at Heikin-Ashi candles. But you can see that gap right there. This is what people are talking about when they're mentioning that CME gap. I'm not going to go into what causes the CME gap. I went into that on the video yesterday. But you can see it does come down. The body of that candle does come down to that $19,500 level. So that's just to show you guys kind of what we're talking about when it comes to that CME gap. Coming back to the regular Bitcoin chart, just kind of looking at the volume here, you can see you are getting that support with that gap at that high volume node. So if we do continue to get a strong rejection down here, that high volume node / gap would be a good place to look for, some support, because obviously the volume is there. So daily does look like we could potentially have some more room to come down. However, the medium time frames do potentially signal a potential short-term move to the upside. But kind of just my general sentiment here is I am waiting for a potential short retrace up to a little bit of a higher price before potentially getting a rejection down to visit that $19,500 level. But let's go ahead and take a look at these levels. I'm going to come down to the lower time frames. We'll turn those levels back on. And
Can you look at the 90-minute chart?
yes, bada boom.
And then can you turn the Extrema on?
Yep. Boom.
Okay, so and there we go. So I'm looking right now, and I know we've been having these conversations about it seems to be stuck right now. But then you look at that one, you look at the Extrema, and you see the large green out of the wave.
Yep.
And then you look at the top, and you see how it has crossed two different indicators on the market intelligence.
Yep.
Does that not look like a good place to take a short?
So yeah, so looking at the BitLab stack here, we are getting a bearish divergence popping up on market intelligence, and you do actually have your bars coming, your relative Extrema bars coming out of that green wave, kind of indicating, we kind of try to explain this as when you have the bars come out of that wave, it's kind of like a rubber band being stretched back and could indicate a snapback to the downside. You could see that right here. This pink bar came out of the green wave, and then boom, we rubber band back down. So we are starting to get that signal here on the 90-minute, and you do have some confluence here with that bearish divergence. So yeah, that could potentially be an area where we could come down from. Something that would make that a really confident move is if you had the significant movement indicator starting to give you a little bit of a red wave. If a red wave pops up on here, you would have, those three confirmations. So yeah, I would say as far as relative Extrema and BitLab market intelligence says, those definitely are aligned.
The difference between when a red line pops up at the top instead of a green line bar at the top of the Extrema? What is the difference between those two?
I believe it has to do with volume. We should probably talk.
Okay.
Nick probably has a more in-depth answer for that, but I do believe it has something to do with the difference in volume. But yeah, just generally when it comes out of that green wave, that's kind of when you can expect that rubber band effect. And then again, if you really wanted to wait for super confluence, you can wait for that red wave on the significant movement, showing that you're coming up to the top of move. You have the bearish divergence and the relative Extrema. It's letting you know that the move may be extreme relative to the recent price action.
Yeah.
So there you go. But
moving back to where you were, Frank. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I didn't mean to interrupt you. That's my job.
No, no, I think it's important to, because actually speaking of the BitLab stack here, I do want to bring something up. Now, we were talking about this 2 days ago on my live stream, and anybody who's tuned in will have seen this. And then actually Kelly from BitLab came into my chat yesterday and asked me to take a look at it. And it actually I was like, hey, we looked at that yesterday, and it actually wound up playing out. I believe, was it the 4 hour? It's one of these time frames, might have been the 3 hour. But we were looking, before we got this move to the downside, we were looking at the hidden volume indicator, and it was giving us a bearish divergence signal right here with that red R. You could see it right there. And I was saying, we had a lot of other confluence saying we were coming up to key resistance, a lot of bearish signals, looked like we were going to come down, and then we saw this bear signal on the hidden volume, which does have a really high hit rate. I was telling everybody on the channel to go back, and if you are using these indicators, to go back test these signals, because they are pretty reliable, especially when you have so much confluence like we did 2 days ago. And then boom, right after that divergence indication, we did get that big move to the downside. So just another thing that is very useful on the BitLab market intelligence. And it's always fun when you look at something and then the next day you go back and check and it's like, oh God, that hit super hard. But coming down to these lower time frames, let's turn that TA back on to get these levels. Basically, guys, the way I'm playing this right now is, obviously, everybody wants to know, are we going to get a big correction here? And, we've been talking about it. It's definitely possible. And that key level that you don't want to break here, obviously, looking at the volume, is going to be really this high volume node down here. Again, getting into around that 19.5 level. But if we lose about 19,100, we may break back into this low volume gap, and it will likely play out just like it did to the upside. So we could come down, break this high volume node, and then fall right through this gap, in which case I would start losing my bullish continuation sentiment for Bitcoin. So this is going to be a very, very key level to watch. And again, that high volume node does come in at about 19,186. However, we are obviously getting a little bit of ranging action up here. So basically what I'm doing, guys, is I'm coming down to those lower time frames, and I am going to go ahead and pull up these levels, and we'll hide that VPVR. And I'm basically just treating this as a range, right? A micro range. So we have our value area low down here where we were getting support. Then we have our POC right here. It looks like we are trying to flip that POC to support. Also have a local golden pocket there. And then we have our value area high up here. So kind of my plan here, guys, is to wait and see if we can get a move to the upside to come up here and test this value area high. And if we could get bearish signals and a bunch of bearish confirmations up here, and my checklist is all checked off, I will be looking for short positions here, because what that does is allows us to, obviously, we got a decent move to the downside. Now we're consolidating. Maybe we get a short retrace up to make a lower high. Obviously, we have a high here. That would give us a lower high right here. Maybe a good place to start looking for some shorts to potentially short it back down to, number one, the POC, and then hopefully down to the value area low. And then once we start losing that value area low, that's kind of where you get pretty close to, if we pull up the volume here, you can see we have most of our volume is up here where we're ranging right now. But if we crack that value area low, is going to be a very key level to watch, because if we do crack that value area low coming in at about 20,650, we will fall into this low volume gap, and likely that is where it's once we lose that value area low that we have the possibility of going down to fill that CME gap at about $19,500. Now, again, treating it as a micro range, expecting, because we are starting to hold support on top of the POC, as long as we stay on top of this POC, I am expecting to come up to that value area high. So, and again, looking for shorts at this level. Shout out to Damon Carney. I appreciate that, man. It says, Frankie crushing the calls once again. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate the kind comment. I see Dave Digital in the chat. But this is basically what I'm looking at, guys. Again, you will know, the 4 hour is also looking like we could start to get a little bit of a move up. And again, nothing too crazy, just a little bit of a retrace. I will be looking for short still. However, taking a look at the DXY, let me go ahead and hide these indicators just to make it a little bit cleaner. You guys will know one thing we were looking at on the DXY was on the daily time frame, and we are starting to get a little bit of a bullish divergence, and it is confirmed, right? And now, no saying that this is going to play out in a very, very big way. Actually, in fact, we do have a death cross on the DXY, which would be pretty bearish for the dollar and more bullish for Bitcoin. And it is one of those macro things that is making me think that if we just come down for a small retrace on Bitcoin, maybe go fill that CME gap and then wind up turning back around to the upside, this DXY death cross is another thing that is kind of making me think that we could get this continued rally, in the bear market, which we still are technically in. But But in the short term, that daily bullish divergence did start to give us a little bit of a move down on Bitcoin. But yeah, just keeping an eye on this as well. So if this continues to move up, we can actually continue to see that move down for Bitcoin. And then, eventually that death cross will continue to play out on the DXY, where we might be able to see Bitcoin continue to run up. So there you go, guys. Those are the key levels I'm watching and just kind of how I'm attacking things right now. Again, I'll just leave this up here while Ben comes back. If you guys want to take a screenshot of those levels or something, just that little micro range between about 21,182 and 20,653 is that micro range I'll be trading until we lose that value area low. Back to Ben. Bing bong.
That's great. Everybody, make sure you take a look at Frank's micro.
That's right.
We all know Frank's got a micro to look at.
Take a screenshot.
So take a screenshot of his micro if y'all see it. If y'all see it where I do, I'll be really upset. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and Jules says, wonder if Frankie remembers me. Do you remember Jules?
Jules from the stream?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think Jules wanted to see a specific coin. I forget what it was.
Jules wanted to see a specific coin, specific micro. Cool. I like it. Okay. All right. Moving on here, guys. We've got combo breaker. Combo breaker.
What a
What is
terrible
that
headline.
about? What?
That's just an awful, terrible headline.
What a
This is
terrible
awful.
one. Bitcoin ends ridiculous 14-day winning streak. Is this a Mortal Kombat joke?
I think so. I don't know.
If that's a Mortal Kombat joke, I'm actually pretty impressed with it. With
All right, fine.
Favorite Mortal Kombat character? Go.
Scorpion, obviously.
Okay, I'm a Sub-Zero guy.
Okay.
I will wreck you a Sub-Zero over and
Dude,
over and over.
come
again.
here.
Oh yeah. Let's see. What did Sub-Zero have a line? What's his line?
Oh, I don't think so.
He never had one. He's a silent type. He's a cold and silent type.
Yeah.
I like that. I know a lot of those people, the cold and silent type. All right. 15 days prior, BTC was shaping up to match or even beat its November 2013 record of 15 consecutive days of positive price movement, the longest of such streaks in its history. Let's see. Primary cause for negative price action appeared to be an ominous announcement by the Department of Justice saying it would announce an international cryptocurrency enforcement action. And guys, let's face facts. It was one of the largest nothing burgers ever in the history of the world. And which, by the way, I do have to say, someone fact checked me. I did say I hate the phrase nothing burger. It is true. And then I used it a million times. Yeah, get over here. We all know that Scorpion. Yeah, we all know that. Killer Instinct was the game. I don't know. Liu Kang, I would crush you. You try to bicycle kick me, I'm going to freeze you in the sky, uppercut you. It's over. It's over
I
for
need
you.
to go watch this stuff again. It's been years.
All right. Bitcoin can pass 30K before setting new bear market low. Hey, that's exactly what I've said can happen. Well, no, I don't think it will set a new low, but it came past 30K and then come back down.
Yeah.
Bitcoin may gain another 50%. You see, they need narratives like this. You need narratives like this so people still believe that there's going to be a new low, right? Because you got a lot of these people that are saying that there's not going to be, we're definitely going to 10 to 14,000. But now that Bitcoin's hit this rally, it's kind of hard for them to look and say that because we've got well above that $15,000 range now. So, I mean, we're $6,000 above it basically. Or yeah, thereabouts. 5,000, 6,000, depends on what day it is. So you're having people now say, oh, well, we can go it so far and then come back down. You know who's been real quiet lately? Crypto Savvy. Been real quiet.
Oh, yeah.
Been real quiet. Everybody's looking for that new low in January. Don't think it's coming. Wendy O uses that phase. Well, if Wendy says it, then I guess I got to retire it. I guess I got to retire it if Wendy says it.
At least Savvy's building a house, though, for himself.
Yes. I mean, good for Savvy. I like Crypto Savvy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, he's teetering.
It's getting a little dicey. Little dicey.
Even Gareth Holloway said, oh, well, if it goes back above 22, then maybe we won't get new lows.
Yeah.
Pretty close to 22. I think there's a strong chance we're at 22 by next week. Very, 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 very strong chance.
I agree with that.
I'm expecting Bitcoin to come down, fill that gap, hit 19,900, pop right back up, go straight to 22, and then be off to the races for the rest of the month, the next month. So, and of course, that doesn't mean we're going to all-time highs. It's going to be a while, guys. It's going to be next year before we hit all-time highs again, in my opinion. Yep. Some people are telling you that's not true. Some people are telling you by the end of this year, we'll be at 100K and blah, 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 blah. Not happening.
Yeah.
So there we go. All right. Updating its long-term Elliott wave price analysis argued the current upside constitutes a wave 4 for Bitcoin, essentially a bear market relief move. There's a little bit about Elliott wave. Do you know about the Elliott yawn?
The Elliott yawn's a very strong indicator.
I love the Elliott yawn.
Yeah.
It's Cointelegraph reported Bitcoin has swapped its up-only trading behavior for some much needed consolidation in recent days. If you were to consider what we just saw up-only action because it was green for 14 days in a row, then you have a lot to learn in crypto. It's like when your coin goes down 98% and it bounces 50%. People are like, all right, Solana.
Yeah.
Okay, come on, guys.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the news here. We got Bitcoin exchange balance hits 4-year low. Here he goes. He still says new lows coming this year. So, Savvy, where's your new low in? You said new low in January, though. You did say new low in January, correct? Am I wrong on that? Am I wrong? Send me more money so you can correct me. It's true. The money goes to the people. It doesn't even go to us for another month. Bitcoin exchange balance is 4-year low. How will it impact BTC? After the FTX meltdown, Bitcoin began a rally that saw its value increase by over 25% and make up the losses. The rest of the cryptocurrency market could also rise thanks to the King Coin's rally. The King Coin. How about that? King Coin. Not King Kong. The King Coin. However, Glassnode's balance on exchange metrics displayed a low volume despite the surge. Combo breaker. Oh, it's a Killer Instinct reference. That's what that is. And what was the super chat above that?
Let's see here.
Long-term who wins price-wise, ADA or XRP? Like, price-wise? I think you got to go XRP. The supply's lower, right?
Yeah, I'm feeling XRP on that side.
Yeah, I think XRP. But, I mean, look, if you ask me which one's going to have the highest gains, you know. Oh, yeah. Savvy said we won't see 20K again until 2025. That is what he did say that. He did say that. I'm not going to say, you know, look, we're all wrong sometimes. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to hit new lows. But
I like the conviction. I like the conviction.
Yeah. You got to look. If I were him, I couldn't retreat off of this right now. You know?
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't retreat off 100K. I said it too strongly. And I had to retreat from it when I was wrong.
That's true. The whole market was saying 100K and only a few people kind of called out themselves on that.
Oh my gosh. Unforgettable Name says he's taking a shot every time I yawn and he's at work. He may get fired. Guys, I don't know what's on with the yawning. Should I go to the doctor? Y'all think I'm dying?
No, you just work hard.
Just work hard. That's what it is.
That's all it is.
I play hard too. Work hard, play hard.
Right.
That's Wiz Khalifa taught me that. Very tall Wiz Khalifa, I think.
Is he?
Very tall. Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
It's not always the case that the low Bitcoin balance on centralized exchanges indicates a downward market trend. Fewer people holding Bitcoin may sell them on exchanges. And guys, I've been telling you for a while, you can't really trust these Bitcoin exchange numbers. These don't really make sense. Where's TJ? TJ is at C12 today. So it's his day today to be gone one day a month. He does it. So there you go. I was there on Tuesday. Bitcoin crowd sentiment hits a multi-month high as Bitcoin price touches 21K. I can feel that. Can y'all feel the change in the sentiment?
Oh,
yeah. How many people we have watching today?
We got 4,300 right now.
4,300. Man, we need a lot more than that.
I know we need another fake DOJ release tripping everyone out.
Man, tripping everybody out.
Yeah.
Low T. Ben yawns a lot. Low T.
I would highly disagree with that.
That's not true at all. We used to have some high E people in the building. They're gone though. But let me tell you, the low T, we don't mess around with low T around here. Okay. If your T gets low, you just go get some more. That's what you do.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Bitcoin crowd sentiment touches. I mean, look, the sentiment has changed dramatically here recently. According to data from Sentiment, trading crowd sentiment has touched its highest in 6 months. It's like its highest bullish sentiment. Let's see. What is the price doing right now? Just trying to take a look at it. In the past 14 months, data indicates that traders are treating Bitcoin's price rebound as a signal of a possible bigger breakout in the near future. You guys can see here. These are from old horn hairs. Old horn hairs. I don't know this guy, but I sure do like that name.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, it's a great name.
It's catchy.
It very is. Let's see. Bitcoin bull market, 1,064 days. The bear market, 364. 1,064 days. Current market low, 364 days. Exactly, pretty much. Carbon copy of the last cycle. I told you guys again. Yep. I mean, look, there's a reason why we talk so much about these cycles. I mean, they're the only thing in crypto that have ever actually bared to be true. No pun intended there. Right up to the top and the bottom of the prior cycles look surprisingly similar when examining the long-term price action of Bitcoin. Some more trees, 2021 cycle seems to follow a similar trend. Yeah. It's almost like somebody's been telling you that.
Yeah.
For 5 years.
It's weird.
Who?
You.
Oh, me. Oh, yeah, it was me. You're right. Yeah. Study, 64% of North Americans invest in crypto without any research at all well. This is shocking. This is shocking. Guys, this is why I tell you all the time. You're not early investing in Bitcoin. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're not early investing in crypto. You're early understanding it. That's why you got to get the book, Catching Up to Crypto. You get this book, you get set so far ahead of everybody else because nobody's paying attention, okay? Nobody's paying attention to what they're putting money in. They're just throwing it in there. So let's see. BitSquad can get a 2-for-1 for free in DC. Just registered with you. Crypto Steve-O coming to the book tour. So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to Washington, D.C. in a long time. I've been to Washington, D.C. in 18 years, I think.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah. All right, here we go. In particular, 64% of North American investors spend less than 2 hours or don't do any research at all before making a crypto investment, according to Bybit and Toluna's Crypto Investment Literacy Report. How much time do you spend before investing in a crypto project or trading a new coin? None. I tend to buy what's trending, most talked about on social media. You see the purple?
Yes.
None. I tend to buy what my friends tell me. Less than 2 hours, 3 to 8 hours, a few days, a few weeks. The few weeks, people, y'all are probably spending too much time. Oh, Gary Gensler wants me to come visit while I'm in Washington. Yeah, I'll make sure to come out there, Gary.
Absolutely.
Make sure to come out there, Gary. Gary. Isn't Gary a snail on SpongeBob?
He was. Absolutely. I think he was. Yeah.
I think so. Gary was a snail.
God.
What a sluggard.
Yeah,
what a sluggard.
Definitely.
He said faults bottom in February, March, and then trapped to 14K, then the true bottom in September, October. Okay. But did you not say it wasn't going to get over 20K until 2025? Did you or did you not say it? Did you or did you not? I mean, if you did, or if you didn't, let's hear it. Okay, so basically, if we get through March and there's no false bottom, then I just like what I really like is I really like that moment where I can be like, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see when is the moment. What's the number? If it gets to what number would you say? Okay, well, I guess maybe we'll just go back to the traditional 4-year cycles. What's the number? Let's see. Hey, Ben, a week or so, Gary Gensler came on your channel. Did he? Well, he's here all the time.
Yeah, he's always in the chat.
He's always in the chat.
He can't.
Oh, Gary G.
Let us alone.
Oh, Gary G. Okay, Jim Cramer in disbelief as crypto market notches up. Cries manipulation. Look at this guy.
Love this.
Why do all these guys look the same? Why do they all look the same? Why do they all look like mirrors? Like, can you not see your face in this shiny forehead? Can you not? And what is up with the yellow teeth? What's up with the yellow teeth? Can we get some white teeth?
They're just too much polishing.
My teeth are so tiny that you can't actually see them. So you have no idea what color my teeth are.
No.
Okay. All right. Signs have started to emerge over the past month of a thaw in the crypto winter of the past year. So far in January, Bitcoin has risen some 30% from 17,000 to 21,000. Ethereum has also risen over 30%, while total crypto market capitalization has risen back above 1 trillion. Even NFTs saw a rebound in sales in December. Let's see. Sam Bankman-Fried doles out credit lines to crypto institutions. He's the new JP Morgan. Back June 22nd. Did not play well.
Absolutely not.
He looks like he has gas pains. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. Like others, Cramer also believed the collapse would trigger a broader crackdown from authorities who would soon perform a sweep. Guys, these people that are all sold out that there's some kind of gigantic sweep coming for crypto.
Right.
That Binance is going down and Tether is going down. I do think there could be a little something with Tether. Let's see. Said 55 weekly EMA. Okay, I'll keep an eye on that. You got all these people that they want it. They're doomsdayers. They want the price to drop dramatically.
Yeah.
That's what they want. That's what they're after. They want to see everybody fail. They want to see everybody lose money. They want to see Binance go down. They're doomsdayers. But guys, that's not coming. I do think there's a little something with Dan Freeberg to watch where it comes to Tether and Deltec Bank. I think there is something to watch there, something to say. But there it is. So let's see. Robert, when we were at 60K, BitBoy was still calling for 100K when Savvy was go back up. When Savvy was calling for the drop, I'm just calling it like I see it. That's true. He was saying that. Give him credit for that. But he also said it was going down in the middle when we had a new all-time high.
Yeah.
So I'm saying none of us are perfect. We all do the best we can. We all have biases. My bias is bullish. Is bearish? Is what it is. You see the news yesterday about Genesis filing bankruptcy. Are we going to talk about that today? I guess not. Where does that leave Gemini earn customers on the creditors list? Any guess? Not sure, but yeah, I've said for a long time, if you are on Gemini earn list, you are probably not getting your money back.
Yeah.
There's just no money there, unfortunately. So Jamie Dimon says rates will rise above 5% because there's still a lot of underlying inflation. JB Morgan, CEO. Let's see. Do we have this?
Might be the next tab, the video.
Oh, it is?
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
JB Morgan says, Jamie Dimon says he believes interest rates will go higher than what the Federal Reserve currently projects as inflation remains stubbornly elevated. Dimon said the recent easing of inflation comes into the temporary factors such as a pullback in oil prices. He said if the U.S. suffers a mild recession, interest rates will rise to 6%, yada, yada, yada. Oh, look at Greta there.
I know.
Look at Greta.
She faked her arrest.
How dare you? How dare you? Yeah, she faked her
arrest.
Yeah, she faked her arrest. How stupid is that?
Sad.
It's such a sham. It's all such a freaking sham.
The worst is the police like taking better angles for the camera.
It's stuff like this that makes people question everything. If you don't question everything you see about climate change, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. If you just accept at face value what you're being told about climate change, you're an idiot. I'm not saying what percentage of it is true and what percentage of it is not true. All I'm saying is, if we're going to look at a decentralized science video here soon, showing you a lot of the problems with the funding for a lot of these scientific research projects, guys, they literally have Greta, the poster child of climate change, go out and fake an arrest as a photo opportunity.
Yeah.
Does that not trigger any alarm bells for you guys?
It's bizarro world.
It's bizarre. It's extremely bizarre. As we're seeing this stuff with Twitter, and we're seeing the stuff about the pandemic and the vaccines come out on Twitter, the amount of energy and effort that has been put into suppressing information so that you can make a informed judgment call on what you feel.
Right.
The amount of time and energy and government overreach that has been put in to suppress information, it should make you extremely worried. Do I think people are dying from heart attacks because they got the vaccine? I don't know. I don't know. All I'll say is I'm giving it a little more credibility today than I was giving it a year ago. Yeah. But I don't know the answer. I'm not a scientist. I don't know the answers. But all I want is fair information put out on both sides so people can make fair, independent judgment calls on this stuff. When you have Greta faking an arrest at a protest where police are literally involved in it during Davos, during the World Economic Forum,
Everyone is probably sick of the FTX contagion. FT this, FT that, Sam Bank this, Sam Bank that. But this will be my final video diving into it, as I think I've put the majority of the pieces together of what happened and why. This goes deep and involves many large players besides the ones already known. So are you ready for the reveal of the unknown? Well, you really don't have a choice, because it's time for Chico Crypto. The first thing we need to explain is who are or were members of the cartel of crypto, the Tether cartel. Who are the entities that coordinate together to market make for the crypto ecosystem, aka collude to manipulate it? Well, law enforcement and Congress have the chats from a signal group who has a name exchange coordination. And yes, it included many exchange heads like CZ of Binance, Sam Bankman of FTX, Jesse Powell of Kraken, Justin Sun of Huobi, but also another player, Paulo Arduino of Tether. These were the 5 big players of the crypto cartel who controlled the markets. These chats are very damaging. They prove exchanges and the largest crypto stablecoin coordinated together to have this control. But we are also learning about the players outside of crypto who were a part of this cartel, the banks that fueled their operations with fiat. Last Friday, I showed Binance was able to get banking relationships with US-based Signature and Silvergate Bank, even though they are banned from operating in the United States. They were doing this by using a Seychelles-based shell company, Key Vision Development Limited. Who also was a friend of Signature and Silvergate? Sam Bankman and FTX. In October of 2021, FTX integrated Signature Bank's Signet for fiat deposits and withdrawals from the exchange. And by April of 2022, this expanded when they implemented Fedwire into Signet. From the press release, FTX CEO and founder Sam Bankman-Fried commented on the bank's new Fedwire transfer feature. Partnering with Signature Bank, an established financial institution and fintech pioneer, will allow us to continue to grow our business by leveraging all the advantages and key aspects of Signet. Vice President and Group Director of Signature, Sarman Sarayan, has tweeted photos of himself and another Signature exec arms around SPF, saying he's one of the most influential and smart people in the crypto space. So Signature is tied to doing business with both FTX and Binance, but of course they are connected to Kraken and Huobi, doing business with both, as it's on both of their websites, which makes them tied to the 4 known exchanges in the Exchange Coordination Group. Is Signature tied to the last known member, Tether? There's no way, right? Tether can't get banking relations in the US. Well, remember, Tether doesn't need them when they can inject people within the bank and facilitate the relationship for members of the cartel who bank for them. As we can see from LinkedIn, Jeffrey Wallace is Vice President and Manager of Digital Solutions at Signature. But lower down in his employment history, we can see Jeff was Director and Chief Development Officer for another bank, Noble Bank. Well, from public evidence from the New York AG Tether investigation, we can see Jefe of the crypto cartel, Giancarlo Devancini, emailed someone about Jeff and Noble Bank back in 2018. The email from Giancarlo said, "Let me introduce you to Jeffrey from Noble. We have been working with Noble for several months, and we believe they are the best solution on the market when it comes to high volume fiat movements." What about Silvergate? We know Binance was tied to them using them through a shell, but what about the other members? Well, yeah, FTX banked with Silvergate. They had major exposure to the exchange. Kraken has it on their website. At Aurelius Value on Twitter captured screenshots from Huobi where Silvergate was an option. And even Justin Sun, Huobi shadow owner, has partnered with them and Signature. Let's listen in.
And QSD now has collaborated with both Silvergate and the Signature Bank.
So is Silvergate tied to the last piece of the cartel, Tether? Oh, of course they are. Back in November, Block.one and founder bought a large stake in Silvergate, making them the largest shareholder. As we can see from Wikipedia on Brock Pierce, it says, Pierce was a co-founder of Block.one, which released EOS.io software. And above that it says, Pierce was a co-founder of the cryptocurrency Tether with Reeve Collins and Craig Sellers in 2014. But also, if we go to Brock's LinkedIn, we can see he was also the co-founder of Noble Bank, the same Noble we just mentioned tied to Signature. They all connect and weave together somehow, some way. Although now it's time to wrap it all up with a bow, explain what happened, what went wrong, the full story as I see it from what I've pieced together across multiple episodes. Those are all down in the description if you want to check it out and get the full story. Sam Bankman was introduced into the Tether cartel by none other than CZ Binance in December of 2019 when they strategically invested into FTX. Tether used to post a rich list of the top Tether holding wallets. They don't anymore, for obvious reasons, but back in December of 2019, the day FTX and Binance became bros, Binance was Tether's #1 customer by a long shot. Interesting, #2 biggest customer was exchange coordination member Huobi. Well, Sam grew FTX into Tether's largest individual customer only a couple years after that. The Protos Tether papers revealed Sam's Alameda took the chunk of the USDT based on Tether's distribution from January 17 to October 21. Although if you count Cumberland and Binance market makers together, as Cumberland is a Binance market maker, then Nance is equal to or bigger than Alameda. But Sam Bankman was deep with the cartel, although 6 months ago he blew that up, the relationship. I made a video on this back then titled "Tether is a Ticking Time Bomb, FTX is Lighting the Fuse," where I showed the mass redemptions happening on USDT were most likely Sam Bankman, and that Sam was trying to take down Celsius, of which Tether was invested in and loaned money to. Then I said this:
FTX, SBF, and most likely Alameda. Now, why would they be pulling off this manipulation, this hunting to take Celsius down if FTX is part of the Tether cartel? Well, they may be trying to break free and take the crypto markets for themselves.
Yeah, they were trying to break free from the cartel, push another domino over so everything implodes. Why would Sam do this? What was his MO? Well, no one can know for sure yet, but I have some theories. I've previously covered Sam and Sam's family's ties to politics, heavily concentrated with the Dems. He is a mole/patsy, sent in to do what he did, try and blow up the markets, lose billions of dollars even for the rich and famous, and attempt to set crypto back 20 years by giving regulators everything they need. I hold this theory because Sam has basically said he is going to do that. He recently tweeted, "At some point, I might have some more to say about a particular sparring partner, so to speak, but you know, glass houses. So for now, all I say is, well played. You won." He was talking about CZ Binance, and more to say, he was talking about to regulators and law enforcement. But I have another theory. Sam Bankman was fearing for his life by his former group, the Tether Cartel. Being in the hands of law enforcement in a jail cell was a whole lot safer than being out in the open world. I covered Sam was trying to take down Tether, blow up the market 6 months ago, but if we go back to the exchange coordination chats, we can see the cartel CZ was accusing him of trying to depeg USDT. Trying to depeg the crypto tied to drug cartels? Yeah, if you didn't know, Bitfinex, the parent company of Tether, used Crypto Capital, a payment processor who worked with them. From this article it says, who in 2018, notably these seized funds, belonged to Crypto SP Zoo, a local firm allegedly affiliated with Crypto Capital, and Melina Lee's arrest was about money laundering for Colombian drug cartels through the cryptocurrency exchange, the report said. Maybe SBF just didn't want a Colombian necktie. Cheers, I'll see you next time.
We are going to make it right.
If you became a millionaire, would you keep working? You know?
Great job, brother. Just find the meat shelf here.
What's going on right now is California's trying to figure out. Oh, I can.
All right, that's the ending shot there for that intro. I haven't really paid attention to the intro yet. Hello, everybody. DZ is here today. Ben will be back tomorrow. Don't you worry. He is at C12. Did I get the number right?
You did?
He's at C12. He's learning. He's trying to be a better man, better CEO, better founder, better husband, better father, just better all the way around. And maybe he'll be better at telling you when to get in, get out of this whole crazy crypto cycle, because we are pumping. How are you feeling today?
I feel good.
Yeah.
I've been getting an early start lately. We've been shooting extra stuff for Blockchain Basement, but yeah, when the price is going up, everybody's in a little bit of a better mood, which just makes things more fun.
Let's read Steve-O's comment real quick. It was a good one talking about the book right there. It's just right above. I just got Ben's book the other day, Catching Up to Crypto. It's really good. I thought I knew everything about crypto, but man, was I wrong. I love learning about the early history of Bitcoin, and I have a little bit of a gap of my knowledge there. I'm gonna take it. I'm going on vacation this weekend.
Nice.
To Wilmington. Me and Kat, we're gonna go out there, have a good time. Maybe I'll bring the book. There's a beach there. I have a little downtown Airbnb. Be a perfect time to catch up on some crypto. Relax. Maybe I'll touch grass. Probably not. Probably not.
Touch the sand, maybe.
Yeah, I'll touch some sand. I have to touch the water. I haven't seen an ocean in a while, so I'm definitely gonna do that. All right, let's get into the show. Make sure you're sub to the new channel Around the Blockchain. We just passed 13,000 subscribers, but we've been getting some pretty good views on these. 12,000 for the one 3 days ago, 9,000 so far for the one from last night. Should be passing 10 today. And when you look at the tail, you see it slowly growing here. So big shout out to you guys watching these, and some of these shorts starting to blow up. Make sure you follow me on my Twitter. 39.3, trying to make that push to 40K. If I get to 40K, then I feel like a real guy there. Taco, hey, I retweet Taco there. JPEG Junkies, I want to share just a couple things. I just finished yesterday, me, Taco, and AJ. We just finished the next 1,000 catchphrases. All 6,000 junkies are going to have a unique catchphrase. Something kind of funny, something kind of clever. If he has laser eyes, maybe he's talking about the laser. If he's holding a belt or a syringe, maybe there's a funny message there. You have to check it out, though. You can see him on JPEG Store. We got the first 1,000, working on the next 1,000, and right now we're working on the third 1,000. The Pluto Alliance, you're going to want to go to the cruise. You can find it here on our pinned tweet, or you can go to, our actual webpage, and then you can see the event registration. I'm going to be on the cruise. Me and Kat are going to be on there. You come say hey. We'll be sitting poolside. Is there gambling on? Have you ever been on a cruise? I know I've asked you before.
Yeah, I've been on a cruise. It's been a long time. I did when I was a kid, but yeah, almost all cruises, I believe, have casinos and gambling and all that sort of stuff.
All right, are you going to gamble any?
Why not? I gamble every once in a while. I'm not a big time gambler, but from time to time, things like that. I like playing craps. I like playing some blackjack, some poker, that kind of stuff. Why not?
Hopefully this clip doesn't find the way and where I'm seen by the casino boss on the cruise ship. But I've been studying card counting in respects to blackjack. And so let's get a nice Pluto Alliance. Let's clean the house out. Let's get backed off and say, you know what, your play's too strong. I live for that. So
are you a poker player at all?
I used to be addicted to it. I played it a whole lot. Poker, it's a zero-sum game. It's peer versus peer. It is super fun. I don't want to get into that addiction again. Blackjack, it's like you're at war against the house. Yeah. And if you know what you're doing, you have a slight edge. Whereas poker, you don't know who you're playing. If I'm playing Phil Hellmuth, I'm going to lose all my money. But if you know how to count cards, you can take down any casino all over the globe until you get backed off. But there's little tips and tricks where you can you lose like 1%, 2% of your edge, but then they look at you and they're like, oh, clearly this guy isn't a card counter. So if you're on the cruise, hey, I'll come tell you these tips. But you got to be in the Pluto Alliance. I'm looking forward to that cruise, though. Are you excited?
Yeah, it should be a good time.
It will be a good time. All right, back to the book. We have the tour going on. Make sure you sign up. You can go to Eventbrite. You can see where we're going next. I think San Francisco is the next place. We're going to be there on the 21st. And make sure you just go ahead and order one of those. So how is the sales doing? I haven't asked.
Extremely well. Sales have been going almost too well, where
the first run's completely gone.
They're all sold.
Already printing.
It's sold out everywhere, and we heard some places were doing refunds, which is unfortunate, but they're printing more, and it's going extremely well.
Yeah, so great job, Ben. Great job, you guys at home. Great job to the Bit Squad. And if you gave one to a family member and they end up buying some crypto during this bear winter, during this year of 2023, they're gonna thank you. That you're gonna see that book on that table 2 years from now, and you're gonna say, hey, aren't you glad I changed your life? Aren't you glad we're in this, this nice ranch or this nice mansion, or, we're on this yacht? And it's because you maybe shared that book. Craps is the play. Hey, I'll play some craps with you. You learn how to play.
I love craps.
Yeah, it's okay. It's close to a 50-50 split there. So
yeah, I just like it because you're all working together. Unless you're playing the pass, it's basically everybody against the house. Everybody's cheering, and it's just a fun game. You know, I don't really gamble to make money. I gamble for fun. You know, and it's like if I lose them, I set what I'm going to play with. If I come out ahead, great. You know, if I lose it, I still had a good time.
Live streams during the cruise.
Great question
From Kelly.
I have no idea.
He's probably want to do BitLab.
Well,
all right, guys, we're on the BitLab.
Yeah, there's no service out there. We won't be able to do anything out there, but I'm not sure what the content plan is when we all go.
All right. Hey, we have a new social on Instagram, ATB Daily News Blog. This is us, right? 15 followers. Should we go ahead and get followed by the big cheese here? All right, boom, right there. Yeah, now there's 4. Are you going to be number 5? Are you going to be in that top 10? Are you going to be in that top 50? Hurry, run to your Instagram, ATB Daily News Blog. Let's get that up to 250 today. I think we can do that. You need some junkies on your Twitter banner. Good point. I'm gonna work on that. All right, let's check out Coin Market Cap. How are we looking today? The market cap is still below a trillion here, 991 billion. Very, very close. 24-hour volume around 50 billion. That Bitcoin dominance, though, starting to rise. We are now above 40%. We're at 41.1%. ETH dominance below 20%, though, at 19.4%. I expect this, maybe I can see a Bitcoin falling to 40.7, 40.6, and then maybe giving ETH that little bit of a push up to go up to 20%. Do you remember the old paradigm where Bitcoin pumps, a week or a month later, Ethereum pumps, a week or a month later, small cap meme coins pump?
Mm-hmm.
Is that narrative still going to ring true over the next couple of years?
Yes and no. So I talked about this a little bit on Basement. In essence, I would say yes, but not nearly as dramatically and not nearly as obviously because the pairings are different. Back when that used to happen, almost every alt was paired. Basically, to get Ethereum, it was paired to Bitcoin, and then almost every alt was paired to Ethereum. So literally the money had to flow that way. Now almost all alt pairs are paired to USDT or USDC. So you can see it much more just go in and out of Tether. So that's the flow to watch a lot.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, the tethering up of the crypto space has become a little bit more evolved. Like, hey, I'm selling everything. I don't have to cash out of my bank, and I don't have to just have it sitting on Bitcoin, to quote our buddy, and just hold it like an idiot. Now you can get in and out of stable coins. So yeah, we're going to see less dramatic rises. That's a good point there. All right, let's look at some of the prices here. Bitcoin is up a little bit less than 1% here at 21,162. ETH below 16, but barely at 1571. If you look at the 7-day pumps there, 22%, 18%, looking phenomenal. Even XRP, no thanks to your survey there. XRP up 0.5%, but still up above 10% on the weekly. Cardano up 11% on the weekly. Doge up 10% on the weekly. Polygon up 20%, and Solana up 40% there. So making huge strides, climbing up these top 20 rankings. Polygon above $1 right now at 101. I remember when it kind of acted as a stable coin around $1. It's going to be interesting to see if it does the same thing here. Solana, though, way up there. Are people going to take Solana profits, or will they have price memory and say, it used to be $250. Is now the time I sell?
Yeah, I don't know. If you got in at the bottom and you're up, 70% or whatever it is right now, I'd be taking profits. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. If you got in at 16, I mean, definitely take profits. If you bought some of these low prices, I highly recommend take profits. I'm not doing the best at that. I put in, I deployed, I think, 1 or 2,000, nothing crazy over, about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. I'm not really taking the profit that I should off of these because I have a lot of things that are up. Some are like 4X, 5X. Someone already called one of them. We shared some micro cap gems on our Twitch stream. You definitely want to check that out. We get a little bit more loose with our lips here on that stream, and I need to take some profit. And I don't know if I'm going to, but I'm kind of talking myself into it. I might pull 10% off the side, stable up,
flow to the crypto crime ecosystem. Justice Department agents and prosecutors, working in partnership with the Treasury Department and French law enforcement, have disrupted BitSlotto, a China-based cryptocurrency exchange notorious for laundering criminal proceeds from the dark net. And last night, agents of the FBI arrested BitSlotto's founder, Anatoly Legadimov. I am joined today by the Assistant Attorney General for the Criminal Division, Kenneth Polite, the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace, FBI Associate Deputy Director, Brian Turner, and the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury, Wally Adeyemo. Today's law enforcement actions put all of those who seek to exploit the cryptocurrency ecosystem on notice that the Department of Justice will use every tool, working along with our partners, every tool that we have to attack the criminal use of the dark net and cryptocurrency. And we are taking steps to address the crisis of confidence in the cryptocurrency markets. Corner of this criminal ecosystem. Last night in Miami, FBI agents arrested Legadimov, a Russian national and the founder and majority owner of BitSlotto, a Hong Kong registered cryptocurrency exchange. The charges allege that he operated BitSlotto as a high-tech financial hub, as he put it, that catered to, quote, known crooks. BitSlotto failed to implement safeguards required by U.S. law, safeguards that enable law enforcement to detect and to investigate financial crimes. Instead, BitSlotto facilitated the transmission of hundreds of millions of dollars in illicit funds, fueling darknet marketplaces, and laundering the proceeds of ransomware attacks. For example, as alleged, BitSlotto was a crucial financial resource for the notorious Hydra darknet market, the disruption of which I announced from this podium last April, at that time with our German partners. Now, Hydra was the world's longest running and largest darknet marketplace, responsible for 80% of the world's darknet transactions. Together, Hydra and BitSlotto formed a high-tech axis of crypto crime. Hydra buyers funded illicit purchases of illegal drugs, stolen financial information, and hacking tools from crypto accounts hosted at BitSlotto. And sellers of these illegal goods and services at Hydra sent criminal proceeds to accounts at BitSlotto, all to the tune of over $700 million in direct and indirect transfers between 2018 and 2022. Now, I've said before that we would go after the entire ecosystem that allows cyber criminals and illicit actors to flourish. Today's action against BitSlotto, as with the disruption of Hydra, reflects another critical step in executing on that strategy. At the time of Legadimov's arrest, and continuing into the early hours of this morning, the department's international and domestic partners engaged in a coordinated campaign of disruption. That campaign includes law enforcement actions in multiple European countries, the seizure of BitLotto's servers, and enforcement actions by the Treasury Department here in the United States. These actions show not only the broad scope of the defendant's alleged crimes, but also the international net dropped by law enforcement to stop business partners. With these actions, today marks the end of the Hydra BitLotto crypto crime axis. We've also busted the business model of the cyber criminals that
off about 30% of its staff. Yahoo Finance's David Hollerith has the details. Yet another one, David.
Yeah, since pausing withdrawals November 16th, Genesis Global Capital has sought funding, and it's more than 300,040 creditors have organized, and they're in at least 3 major creditor groups, but bankruptcy hasn't happened yet, and many are actually confused as to why. It's been more than 2 months since Genesis paused withdrawals. A document shared with us today shows that creditors and the other side of the equation, Genesis and DCG, have been in talks for the last week. Over the weekend, Genesis, who's sort of serving as the middle ground in this case, delivered a proposal that both sides are currently drafting a term sheet based on that proposal. Now, for creditors, this isn't just about getting as much money from Genesis as possible. There's likely a shortfall. So the remaining assets come down to how much money they can attain from DCG. DCG has millions of dollars in loans it owes to Genesis. So what is being talked about currently, according to the document, is obviously a liquidation of Genesis's current assets, but there also may be a forbearance period set for certain payments of up to 2 years. In exchange, there would also be some cash payments on the front end and possibly equity in DCG. Again, this is Genesis's parent company who owes Genesis money.
All right, David, we also want to talk about Coinbase. Shares off just over 6% today. The big headline, though, the company's stopping its operations in Japan. What do you think is behind that decision?
Yeah, so last week they announced 20% layoff, 950 people, about 20% layoff of Coinbase's staff. So this looks like a continuation of that. From what we understand and what the company's laid out, they're trying to reduce their operating expenses between Q4 and Q1 of 2023 by about 25%. So what we're expecting from this situation is that, the Japan operation is part of that. Again, the company didn't say that they are closing the business yet, although that's obviously speculated and talked about from such an announcement.
All right, David Holler, thanks so much for bringing us those headlines.
Iceland is a stable democracy with a high standard of living, and until recently, extremely low unemployment and government debt.
We had the complete infrastructure of a modern society. Clean energy, food production, fisheries, with a quota system to manage them.
Good healthcare, good education, clean air, not much crime. It's a good place for families to live.
We had almost end of history status.
But in 2000, Iceland's government began a broad policy of deregulation that would have disastrous consequences. First for the environment, and then for the economy. They started by allowing multinational corporations like Alcoa to build giant aluminum smelting plants and exploit Iceland's natural geothermal and hydroelectric energy sources.
Many of the most beautiful areas in the Highlands with the most spectacular colors are geothermal. So nothing comes without consequence.
At the same time, the government privatized Iceland's 3 largest banks. The result was one of the purest experiments in financial deregulation ever conducted.
Finance took over and more or less wrecked the place.
In a 5-year period, these 3 tiny banks, which had never operated outside of Iceland, borrowed $120 billion, 10 times the size of Iceland's economy. The bankers showered money on themselves, each other, and their friends.
There was a massive bubble. Stock prices went up by a factor of 9. House prices more than doubled.
Iceland's bubble gave rise to people like Jan Asgeir Jóhannesson. He borrowed billions from the banks to buy up high-end retail businesses in London. He also bought a pinstriped private jet, a $40 million yacht, and a Manhattan penthouse.
Newspapers always had the headline, "This millionaire bought this company," in the UK or in Finland or in France or wherever. Instead of saying, "This millionaire took $1 billion loan to buy this company and he took it from your local bank."
The banks set up money market funds, and the banks advised deposit holders to withdraw money and put them in the money market funds. The Ponzi scheme needed everything it could.
American accounting firms like KPMG audited the Icelandic banks and investment firms and found nothing wrong. And American credit rating agencies said Iceland was wonderful.
In February 2007, the rating agency decided to upgrade the banks to the highest possible rate, AAA.
It went so far as the government here traveling with the bankers as a PR show.
When Iceland's banks collapsed at the end of 2008, unemployment tripled in 6 months.
There is nobody unaffected in Iceland.
So a lot of people here lost their savings.
Yes, that's the case.
The government regulators who should have been protecting the citizens of Iceland had done nothing.
You have 2 lawyers from the regulator going down to a bank to talk about some issue. When they approached the bank, they would see 19 SUVs outside outside the bank, right? So you enter the bank and you have the 19 lawyers sitting in front of you, right? Very, very well prepared, ready to kill any argument you make. And then if you do really well, they'll offer you a job, right?
1/3 of Iceland's financial regulators went to work for the banks.
But this is a universal problem, huh? In New York, you have the same problem, right?
What do you think of Wall Street incomes these days?
Excessive.
I've been told it's extremely difficult for the IMF to criticize the United States.
I won't say that.
We deeply regret our breaches of U.S. law.
They're amazed at how much cocaine these Wall Streeters can use and get up and go to work the next day.
I didn't know what credit default swaps are. I'm a little bit old-fashioned.
Has Larry Summers ever expressed remorse?
I don't hear confessions.
The government's just writing checks. That's Plan A, that's Plan B, and that's Plan C.
Would you support legal controls on executive pay?
I would not.
Are you comfortable with the level of compensation in the financial services industry? If they've earned it, then yes, I am. Do you think they've earned it? I think they've earned it. And so you've helped these people blow the world up?
Oh, you could say that. They were having massive private gains at public loss.
When you start thinking that you can create something out of nothing, it's very difficult to resist.
I'm concerned that a lot of people want to go back to the old way, the way they were operating prior to the crisis.
I was getting a lot of anonymous emails from bankers saying, you can't quote me, but I'm really concerned.
Why do you think there isn't a more systematic investigation being undertaken?
Because then you'll find the culprits.
Do you think that Columbia Business School has any significant conflict of interest problem?
Don't see that we do.
The regulators didn't do their job. They had the power to do every case that I made when I was state attorney general. They just didn't want to.
Lehman Brothers, one of the most venerable and biggest investment banks, was forced to declare itself bankrupt. Another, Merrill Lynch, was forced to sell itself. Today, crisis talks are underway.
World financial markets are way down today following dramatic developments.
目前雷曼兄弟已经进入了破产清算程序，著名的会计事务所普华。
Crise, panique. La presse française annonce clairement la couleur.
In September 2008, the bankruptcy of the U.S. investment bank Lehman Brothers and the collapse of the world's largest insurance company, AIG, triggered a global financial crisis.
Gripped markets overnight with Asian stocks
Stocks fell off a cliff, the largest single point drop in history.
Share prices continued to tumble in the aftermath of the Lehman collapse.
The result was a global recession, which cost the world tens of trillions of dollars, rendered 30 million people unemployed, and doubled the national debt of the United States.
If you look at the cost of it, destruction of equity wealth, of housing wealth, the destruction of income, of jobs, 15 million people globally could end up below the poverty line again. This is just a hugely expensive crisis.
This crisis was not an accident. It was caused by an out-of-control industry. Since the 1980s, the rise of the U.S. financial sector has led to a series of increasingly severe financial crises. Each crisis has caused more damage, while the industry has made more and more money. After the Great Depression, the United States had 40 years of economic growth without a single financial crisis. The financial industry was tightly regulated. Most regular banks were local businesses, and they were prohibited from speculating with depositors' savings. Investment banks, which handled stock and bond trading, were small private partnerships.
In the traditional investment banking partnership model, the partners put the money up, and obviously the partners watched that money very carefully. They wanted to live well, but they didn't want to bet the ranch on anything.
Paul Volcker served in the Treasury Department and was chairman of the Federal Reserve from 1979 to 1987. Before going into government, he was a financial economist at Chase Manhattan Bank.
When I left Chase to go in the Treasury in 1969, I think my income was in the neighborhood of $45,000 a year.
$45,000 a year.
Morgan Stanley in 1972 had approximately 110 total personnel, one office, and capital of $12 million. Now, Morgan Stanley has 50,000 workers and has capital of several billion and has offices all over the world.
In the 1980s, the financial industry exploded. The investment banks went public, giving them huge amounts of stockholder money. People on Wall Street started getting rich.
I had a friend who was a bond trader at Merrill Lynch in the 1970s. He had a job as a train conductor at night because he had 3 kids and couldn't support them on what a bond trader made. By 1986, he was making millions of dollars and thought it was because he was smart.
The highest order of business before the nation is to restore our economic prosperity.
In 1981, President Ronald Reagan chose as Treasury Secretary the CEO of the investment bank Merrill Lynch, Donald Regan.
Wall Street and the president do see eye to eye. I've talked to many leaders of Wall Street. They all say we're behind the president 100%.
The Reagan administration, supported by economists and financial lobbyists, started a 30-year period of financial deregulation. In 1982, the Reagan administration deregulated savings and loan companies, allowing them to make risky investments with their depositors' money. By the end of the decade, hundreds of savings and loan companies had failed. This crisis cost taxpayers $124 billion and cost many people their life savings.
It may be the biggest bank heist in our history.
Thousands of savings and loan executives went to jail for looting their companies. One of the most extreme cases was Charles Keating.
Mr. Keating, you got a word?
In 1985, when federal regulators began investigating him, Keating hired an economist named Alan Greenspan. In this letter to regulators, Greenspan praised Keating's sound business plans and expertise and said he saw no risk in allowing Keating to invest his customers' money. Keating reportedly paid Greenspan $40,000. Charles Keating went to prison shortly afterwards. As for Alan Greenspan, President Reagan appointed him chairman of America's central bank, the Federal Reserve. Greenspan was reappointed by Presidents Clinton and George W. Bush. During the Clinton administration, deregulation continued under Greenspan, and Treasury Secretaries Robert Rubin, the former CEO of the investment bank Goldman Sachs, and Larry Summers, a Harvard economics professor.
The financial sector, Wall Street being powerful, having lobbies, having lots of money, step by step captured the political system, both on the Democratic and the Republican side.
By the late 1990s, the financial sector had consolidated into a few gigantic firms, each of them so large that their failure could threaten the whole system. And the Clinton administration helped them grow even larger. In 1998, Citicorp and Travelers merged to form Citigroup, the largest financial services company in the world. The merger violated the Glass-Steagall Act, a law passed after the Great Depression, which prevented banks with consumer deposits from engaging in risky investment banking activities.
It was illegal to acquire Travelers. Greenspan said nothing. The Federal Reserve gave him an exemption for a year, and then they got the law passed.
In 1999, at the urging of Summers and Rubin, Congress passed the Graham-Leach-Bliley Act, known to some as the Citigroup Relief Act. It overturned Glass-Steagall and cleared the way for future mergers.
Why do you have big banks? Well, because banks like monopoly power, because banks like lobbying power, because banks know that when they're too big, they will be bailed.
Markets are inherently unstable, or at least potentially unstable. And appropriate metaphor is the oil tankers. They're very big, And therefore, you have to put in compartments to prevent the sloshing around of oil from capsizing the boat. The design of the boat has to take that into account. And after the Depression, the regulations actually introduced these very watertight compartments. And deregulation has led to the end of compartmentalization.
The next crisis came at the end of the 90s. The investment banks fueled a massive bubble in internet stocks, which was followed by a crash in 2001 that caused $5 trillion in investment losses. The Securities and Exchange Commission, the federal agency which had been created during the Depression to regulate investment banking, had done nothing.
In the absence of meaningful federal action, and there has been none, and given the clear failure of self-regulation, it has become necessary for others to step in and adopt the protections needed.
Eliot Spitzer's investigation revealed that the investment banks had promoted internet companies they knew would fail. Stock analysts were being paid based on how much business they brought in, and what they said publicly was quite different from what they said privately.
InfoSpace, given the highest possible rating, dismissed by an analyst as a piece of junk. Excite, also highly rated, called such a piece of crap.
The defense that was proffered by many of the investment banks was not, you're wrong. It was, everybody's doing it and everybody knows it's going on and therefore nobody should rely on these analysts anyway.
In December 2002, 10 investment banks settled the case for a total of $1.4 billion and promised to change their ways. Scott Talbot is the chief lobbyist for the Financial Services Roundtable, one of the most powerful groups in Washington, which represents nearly all of the world's largest financial companies.
Are you comfortable with the fact that several of your member companies have engaged in large-scale criminal activity? You'll have to be specific. Okay.
First of all, criminal activity shouldn't be accepted.
Since deregulation began, the world's biggest financial firms have been caught laundering money, defrauding customers, and cooking their books again and again and again. Credit Suisse helped funnel money for Iran's nuclear program and for the Aerospace Industries Organization of Iran, which builds ballistic missiles.
Any information that would identify it as Iranian would be removed.
The bank was fined $536 million. Citibank helped funnel $100 million of drug money out of Mexico.
Did you comment that she should, quote, lose any documents connected with the account?
I said that in a kidding manner. It was at the early stages of this. I did not mean it seriously.
Between 1998 and 2003, Fannie Mae overstated its earnings by more than $10 billion.
These accounting standards are highly complex and require determinations over which experts often disagree.
CEO Franklin Raines, who used to be President Clinton's budget director, received over $52 million in bonuses. When UBS was caught helping wealthy Americans evade taxes, they refused to cooperate with the U.S. government.
Would you be willing to supply the names?
If there's a treaty framework...
No treaty framework. You've agreed you participated in a fraud.
But while the companies face unprecedented fines, the investment firms do not have to admit any wrongdoing.
When you're this large and you're dealing with this many products and this many customers, mistakes happen.
The financial services industry seems to have a level of criminality that is, somewhat distinctive. When was the last time that Cisco or Intel or Google or Apple or IBM,
I totally agree with you about high-tech versus financial services, but high-tech...
So how come?
High-tech is a fundamentally creative business where the value generation and the income derives from actually creating something new and different.
Beginning in the 1990s, deregulation and advances in technology led to an explosion of complex financial products called derivatives. Economists and bankers claimed they made markets safer, but instead, they made them unstable.
Since the end of the Cold War, a lot of former physicists, mathematicians decided to apply their skills not on Cold War technology, but on financial markets. And together with investment bankers and hedge funds.
Creating different weapons.
Absolutely. As Warren Buffett said, weapons of mass destruction.
Regulators, politicians,
and business people did not take seriously the threat of financial innovation on the stability of the financial system.
Using derivatives, bankers could gamble on virtually anything. They could bet on the rise or fall of oil prices, the bankruptcy of a company, even the weather. By the late 1990s, derivatives were a $50 trillion unregulated market. In 1998, someone tried to regulate them. Brooksley Born graduated first in her class at Stanford Law School and was the first woman to edit a major law review. After running the derivatives practice at Arnold & Porter, Born was appointed by President Clinton to chair the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, which oversaw the derivatives market.
Brooksley Born asked me if I would come work with her. We decided that this was a serious, potentially destabilizing market.
In May of 1998, the CFTC issued a proposal to regulate derivatives. Clinton's Treasury Department had an immediate response.
I happened to go into Brooksley's office, and she was just putting down the receiver on her telephone, and the blood had drained from her face. And she looked at me and said, "That was Larry Summers. He had 13 bankers in his office." He conveyed it in a very bullying fashion, sort of directing her to stop.
The banks were now heavily reliant for earnings on these types of activities. And that led to a titanic battle to prevent this set of instruments from being regulated.
Shortly after the phone call from Summers, Greenspan, Rubin, and SEC Chairman Arthur Levitt issued a joint statement condemning Born and recommending legislation to keep derivatives unregulated.
Regulation of derivatives transactions that are privately negotiated by professionals is unnecessary.
She was overruled, unfortunately, first by the Clinton administration and then by the Congress. In 2000, Senator Phil Gramm took a major role in getting a bill passed that pretty much exempted derivatives from regulation.
They are unifying markets, they're reducing regulatory burden. I believe that we need to do it.
It is our very great hope that it will be possible to move this year on legislation that in a suitable way goes to create legal certainty for OTC derivatives.
I wish to associate myself with all of the remarks of Secretary Summers.
In December of 2000, Congress passed the Commodity Futures Modernization Act. Written with the help of financial industry lobbyists, it banned the regulation of derivatives.
Once that was done, it was off to the races. And the use of derivatives and financial innovation exploded dramatically after 2000.
So help me God. So help me God.
By the time George W. Bush took office in 2001, the U.S. financial sector was vastly more profitable, concentrated, and powerful than ever before. Dominating this industry were 5 investment banks, 2 financial conglomerates, 3 securities insurance companies, and 3 rating agencies. And linking them all together was the securitization food chain, a new system which connected trillions of dollars in mortgages and other loans with investors all over the world.
30 years ago, if you went to get a loan for a home, the person lending you the money expected you to pay him or her back. You got a loan from a lender who wanted you to pay him back. We've since developed securitization, whereby the people who make the loan are no longer at risk if there's a failure to repay.
In the old system, when a homeowner paid their mortgage every month, the money went to their local lender. And since mortgages took decades to repay, lenders were careful. In the new system, lenders sold the mortgages to investment banks. The investment banks combined thousands of mortgages and other loans, including car loans,